All right, welcome guys. I am going to show you the process that we used to bill out jobs for our customers, and then the new and improved process which we have introduced to kind of streamline it and to standardize it as well, to kind of remove some defects and some errors. So first thing I'm going to do is show you guys what we used to do to bill out these jobs. So here, this B&H Washington, this was an estimate that we need to bill out and get invoiced. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a task for our accounting person who enters the invoice into QuickBooks. So I'm going to start by labeling that for them, B&H Washington. And this is a task for them to complete. And then I'm going to also take the total amount here, which is $36.93.46, and give them that total amount. So now they have the job that needs to be invoiced and then the total. But part of the invoicing process is going to be giving them the subtotals and kind of the breakdown of the different categories of work that was performed. So one of the first categories I always would start with, because it was what I had come to learn might be the best way to tackle this problem, was I start with equipment. And that's a specialized knowledge that kind of gave me the insight into doing that. Equipment could be found in anywhere here, depending on if somebody was doing it in a standard way, but that doesn't always get put in as a standard way. Also, there's potential errors, so somebody may have actually put something in and it needed to be accounted for, but it wasn't put in correctly. Anyways, the equipment generally is going to be found in these rooms. They're not going to be found in these other folders. So if I go in here and check this components box, it now gives me a subtotal of equipment. So it'd be nice if I could just use this total here, but unfortunately I can't, because this line that was in here is actually wrong. It's not categorized based on our internal use as equipment. We call that materials and labor as well. So we're going to have to pull that out. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull up my trusty calculator here. I'm going to take 781 minus 2191. So that is the total of the equipment we're going to be billing. So then I'm going to go back to my task here, add a comment where I'm going to say the equipment total is $759.48. All right. So the next step that I need to do is get another category. So I'm going to go back to this items, because I can't actually find it in components. Once again, specialized knowledge. I have to go back into this folder because that's generally where it's placed. But once again, somebody could have made an error. And I have to actually click this line here to get the subtotal of the disposal. So it's going to be $387.70. Disposal, $387.70. The next category I'm going to add is going to be the discount. The discount's actually a negative amount, and one of the things that's interesting is that it's going to be exempt from taxing. So because of that, it's going to affect the grand total down here differently than if it was a taxable item. So we're going to add this in as a negative amount to instruct the accounting person who's going to invoice on that. And I think it was negative $75.95. Okay, so the final step is to take materials and labor and put it into one category. We don't break out materials and labor and bill individually, although we may do that in the future. Right now we just kind of lump that in under labor. So I'm going to add this here, labor, but the amount is going to be different. And this is the part that is the hardest because we have to calculate it correctly. So if we're going to go back here, we're going to take this total. First thing we have to do is actually take 36.93 and add in the discount, because that's not taxed. So 75.95. So now we get a different total because the discount has now been removed. Now we've got to divide this to get the subtotal by the taxed amount. So now we have to go in here, find the tax rate, which is 10.1%, which actually just went up this past month, and calculate that. So now we have the subtotal without the discount. Now the last step is going to be taking what we've already billed in different categories and removing that out of here. So we're going to take 759.48, and then we're going to subtract as well the 387.70. So now we have a subtotal here that's 2276.44. That is what we're going to categorize as the labor. Let's see. All right, so now this is billed and we can be done with this job. But it took a little bit of specialized know-how and actually different jobs depending on how they would be ran. You may have missed certain things because sometimes subcontractors are in here and my process that I just showed you doesn't necessarily take that into account. So you might just end up clicking some of these, observing the line items, noticing anomalies, all that. So now I'm going to show you the new process. It's going to end up totaling just what we looked at. So what we would do is take all these line items and say it doesn't matter where you put it, we're going to account for everything. Go to Project, Tools, and Send to Excel. Open this file, and now you're going to get a full table with all of the values and all of the amounts in here. So we copy all of this information into a template that I built specifically for billing. You paste it in here, and you type in the total, and then you refresh your report. Got to drag that out there so you see it. And now you have all of those totals, and it did the calculation for you. The good news is this actually will grow depending on if you had specialty items. It'll automatically calculate those as well. Because I was just showing you some of the basic steps that you can get the majority of your jobs. But there's many, many jobs that are going to have anomalies or something else that comes up where this will break it down efficiently because we have all of these formulas in here to calculate it for you. It's a very easy process, very standardized, can be trained quickly to others. And because of that, it's really streamlined the process. We've removed waste and removed defects using this. So thank you very much.